Face to Face with Archbishop Gustavo is brought to you by the University of the Incarnate Word.
I did have a question. So
Sure.
I'm curious.
Right.
So you preside over a very large area, right?
19 counties.
And so I wanted to ask, like, what is that like? Like, what does the day in the life of an archbishop look like, right?
Okay. Do you want me to go over today?
Well, I
As
mean,
one day.
Yeah, I mean, well,
That will give you an idea.
yeah, I mean, more of like a day where you have like a lot of like administrative things that you do and all that
Like
kind
today?
of stuff.
Like today?
Like, if today was one of those days, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I start in the morning, and usually I start with a time for prayer. Then I go and exercise for 20 minutes,
There you go.
just 20 minutes. Then I pray the rosary, and then after I get ready, shower, whatever is needed, I put together some kind of a breakfast, prepare my coffee. I'm not that addicted to coffee, but I'm taking coffee every morning. In the last few months.
That's quite normal.
Yeah. Then I take another time for prayer. And then I go to the office. We don't call it, used to be all those places where the bishops were working, they used to be called chancery.
Chancery, interesting.
It's a term from the old times in Europe, but here we call it Pastoral Ministry Center.
Okay.
So I go there, and it's where there are most of the offices of the archdiocese, which means, for example, an office for youth, an office for catechesis, an office for social justice, peace and social justice, is where we have the TV channel, that runs 24 hours.
Yeah.
We have it there. The auxiliary bishops, I have 2 auxiliary bishops, and the 2 of them, they have their offices there.
Interesting. Okay.
And the finance office, the insurance, the attorney, the buildings.
Do you guys have your own attorney? Interesting. Is it like a whole group, or is it just
Well, used to be that we work with 2 different offices, 2 different groups, but they were not in the office. We're going to them, but now we have a full time because of the needs. We need a full time,
for sure?
full-time attorney. Also, we have like the offices for Catholic schools. We have, what else? The archives of the archdiocese, which is a very busy place. And we have great items in the archives. For example, we have the document of the founding of the city of San Antonio.
Okay.
So in 2018, we celebrated 300 years of the city.
Wow.
And there were many events, but the main event, they asked me to bring the document and to proclaim it.
Yeah.
And it's when the King of Spain came, and
Because San Antonio was originally it was like a mission, right?
San Antonio, originally, it was a Catholic territory. There were about 21 different groups, native groups here, with different languages. 21.
Wow.
And so the faith began with the Franciscans, and eventually in about 1718, 720, they built the missions. So we have, originally there were 5 missions. The first one was San Antonio mission.
Okay.
That is the Alamo. So now it's not a mission anymore, but we still have another 4. San Francisco, San Jose, San Juan, Inmaculada Concepción.
Okay.
Immaculate Conception. So they were the first 4 missions. Well, as I said, there were 5. Now we still have 4. And then the cathedral that was built in 1731.
Oh, wow.
Have you been at San Fernando Cathedral?
I don't think I have, no.
And you have been 4 years here?
Yeah, I haven't visited.
I think you have wasted your time.
I don't know where I'm going, right? I'm lost.
Oh, gosh. You better go and visit it before you
I will
graduate.
definitely.
Because the graduation is coming.
Yeah,
And it's right in the main plaza of the city of San Antonio.
really? Okay.
And you will see the courthouse, talking about.
Oh, it's right next to the. Well, you know why I don't visit? Because the parking is so expensive. Yeah.
You can park in the parking lot of the cathedral, and we don't charge a penny.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'll take you up on that.
Okay, but then when you go there to the cathedral, you will find that behind the altar, suppose this is the cathedral, that's the altar. Behind the altar, there is a mark placed by the city that is ground zero. So all the addresses, the address here of Incarnate Word, here, and when you come from McAllen, it says 45 miles to San Antonio. All is measured from there, because the city of San Antonio began right there.
Oh, that's the center point.
The center point,
That's really
the
interesting.
ground zero,
Yeah.
the center point. So all the addresses and highways
Wow, it's all measured from there.
from there. That usually that kind of landmark is placed by the city in courthouses, in the city hall, public libraries. But here is in the church,
cathedral,
at the cathedral.
That's really special. Wow.
And though you have, as we were talking earlier, a beautiful basilica that is magnificent and huge, this cathedral is very small, but it's very precious and dear. And I will not describe it, so you will go and see it.
I will definitely go and see it. Yeah.
The name is San Fernando
Something like that.
Cathedral.
Okay.
San Fernando Cathedral. Yeah.
I must have seen it somewhere, but I gotta go visit.
Or maybe on TV,
Yeah.
because we have many celebrations there. Many
for sure.
celebrations. So constantly is there. Or in the airport,
Oh,
they announce,
yeah,
they
okay.
display it. Or sometimes in some key places of the city, you will see it. Because it's really beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So that is part of your homework before you
Before I
leave San Antonio.
I'll definitely come back though. I really like San Antonio. It's a really beautiful city.
And you have been living here in campus.
So I lived off campus for 3 years. I recently became an RA, and so this is a resident assistant,
Yeah.
and I've been staying in the Hillside dorm. So I've stayed here for 1 year on campus, but I stayed like really close when I was off campus. So I've just been in the Alma Heights area.
Yeah.
And I visited all kinds of, like Sister Martha. She took me to Southwest San Antonio to see the murals.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was really cool. And then I just drive around. Sometimes I do like Ubering, and so I'll just drive around the city. And it's
Sure.
I really like the city compared to other cities.
It is very large.
Yeah, it's large, but like it doesn't feel large.
It doesn't feel like
That's
it.
the thing, yeah. And so I think I had another question. So
Sure.
So then how? So San Antonio is so big, right?
Oh,
And so then,
but I didn't answer. I didn't answer.
I guess you didn't.
Don't
finish
forget
it.
that question, but I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
So I am in the office,
Yeah. There you
in
go.
the pastoral ministry center, and I have meetings. People make appointments. Like today I met with the priest reps, we call deans,
Okay.
of 14 deaneries.
Oh, wow.
We meet once a month. And what we discuss and we talk about, they pass it on to their priests, their pastors, on my behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent like 2.5 hours today. Then we had lunch. Everybody was invited for lunch. We served lunch there for these priests who help other priests, other pastors. And there were a lot of dialogues about we're going to have 24 hours for the Lord. That means 24 hours of confessions and adoration in 23 places in the Archdiocese, in the 19 counties. So they were saying what they are doing to get ready for that. Because it's the same day, but in the 23 places. So to get 10 priests hearing confessions, or 15 priests in each side, and then to take turns day and night.
24 hours.
24 hours with, it's called, that was an initiative from Pope Francis, 24 hours for the Lord.
Oh, so then he sends y'all orders, and then you guys will relay that to everybody else. Wow.
Exactly.
That's what I love about the Catholic faith. Like,
Because we're one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. Right.
And it's cool because it's like it comes from, like, we all follow the same thing, right? We're the original church, and it's cool to see how big and how expansive the system is. I know people sometimes don't like it, but like for me, I think it's really cool being a part of that. Yeah. And I think it's our responsibility too.
Sure.
To make it better. And
to be responsible. Called responsible in the church. It's not just the priest or the Pope in Rome or the bishop or the archbishop. You know, it's the responsibility of every believer, every baptized. Yeah. And then I had 4 meetings, short meetings. One is because we're going to have what we call youth spectacular.
Okay.
So we meet hundreds of teenagers. And they were explaining to me, the people in charge, that today, that they are going to be meeting like 200 youth here in one place, or like 200 people here in the university, and then another 200 in another place, another 200. Another. And then there will be buses that will pick them up and take them to St. Mary's University and to have the rest of the day there. Mm-hmm. And so what will be my participation with them? Yeah. So we'll start in the morning with them, and then in the afternoon and evening I have the Mass in the evening. And then there is a concert and later on. And well, that was one meeting. They explained to me that activity with the teenagers. Then another activity about all the Hispanic directors of Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, that they meet in San Antonio frequently. So the next meeting is in April.
And you're gonna be
so what is my role? I am the moderator.
Oh, okay.
So what I need to get ready for it.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I met with my assistant, Pablo, and we scheduled 4 new things. He needed to consult it with me. And then I met with a priest. And then they said, you need to be at Our Lady's Chapel to meet a gentleman.
That's what we're doing here.
And it's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I have Mass with sisters like half hour from here. And then I have a meeting and dinner with several priests. And then
Well,
adoration.
I'm
night.
honored for your time, right? I mean, it seems
Well,
like
it's a
lot,
joy
yeah.
to be here. I thank you for allowing this to happen. I said, oh, a break. Today's break.
That's what this is, a break.
At 2 o'clock.
That's funny.
Wonderful break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, your life for sure will change quite a bit in a few months.
That is true. Yeah.
I mean, you will be a student, but it's different.
Yeah.
Because now is where you are going to be focused.
On your profession.
Your profession, and it's to study law, right?
Well, this is why I chose Baylor, and I think that's why they accepted me too. Is because I wanted, like, I mean, there's like this idea that lawyers are like bad people or like crooked or all this kind of thing, right? But if I could learn the law in a like at least Christian environment, right? Because Baylor's really Christian.
It's Christian, yeah.
Then I feel like they'll teach it the right way, you know. Like they won't give me all these ideas that will cloud my mind or keep me away from the faith, right?
Right.
Like in the end, like you're making all like you're like a judge, right? Like you're deciding people's like fate, right? And it's so important that like you have like your ideas and your decisions come from the right source, right? And I feel like that's like the Catholic faith, and just have like being grounded in like God, right?
Yeah.
So
The environment will help, but what you want to pursue, besides the career, that will be the way of living for you, how you are going to live, is this deeper insight and a deeper conviction, which, as you said it, there are many people in law who are crooked, that they will help their friends or those who they are interested on, but not necessarily for the pursuit of truth, or what is good, or what is beautiful. You know, because beauty, truth, and what is good are characteristics of God. And I understand, I think, what you're trying to communicate in saying why you want to go there. This is the right choice. But to know that though the environment could be Christian, and we are Christians in the Catholic Church, you want to be faithful besides the environment.
yeah,
You want to be faithful to deep convictions that you have. And so to make it really a difference, I'm thinking in today's world, and that will be the challenge that I present to you, and to keep it in. It's not a challenge that needs to be answered now, but to keep it in the back of your mind. As you listen to news today, as you hear even how the Supreme Justice is working,
yeah,
and to say, I need to be aware how that world works. And then I have to make my decisions along the way and reiterate them constantly. Otherwise, you will end the same. And you will say, no, but that's the reason why I'm going to Bailey School. Because I don't want to be corrupted. I don't want to be a liar. I want to really help with my profession as a lawyer, to be helpful to find the truth in the midst of, light in the midst of darkness, clarity in the midst of confusion, to be right, to be pursuing the truth when there is so many lies. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. And so for you to, there are other professions that is easier. My life first as a priest, and then as a bishop, and then an archbishop, helps me in many ways, not to be co-opted.
Yeah.
But the profession that you are choosing, and that it shows that God is calling you to, is very easy to end totally in the opposite intentions that you have. So you will have to constantly reinforce what you already know deep inside is just and right. And of course, life is complicated, and that's why good lawyers, and then with all those roots of your faith and your encounter with God, have a lot to offer.
For sure.
In a world as it is today.
I agree.
Yeah. But it's beautiful to hear that. It's very consoling to hear that a young man wants to be a lawyer, but with this internal move, it's like, thanks be to God.
That's what, ultimately the goal is to go to heaven, right?
To go to heaven.
And so, what is all this money? What is all these things that you acquire? None of that really means anything.
Well, it means something, but not all. It means something because you will need to live.
That's true. That is true.
You need to eat. You will need, or the Lord calls you to be married. You have family. Well, it's part of being in this world to be responsible. But it's not everything. For sure it's not. Do you know the story of Thomas More?
I don't, but I feel like I've heard the name before.
Thomas More is a saint in England. And he was a lawyer.
Okay.
And he was the right hand of King Henry VIII.
Wow, okay.
In England. And if you recall, Henry VIII, at that time, the Catholic Church had most of the churches in England.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Catholic country.
Yeah.
But this king wanted to marry another woman. And the church will say is wrong in the way he wanted to do it. And he wanted his chancellor, who was a judge, Thomas More, and his confidant, because he believed and was Catholic.
Yeah.
He believed that was a very good, wise man. And so he went to him and said, I need you to support me because the Pope doesn't want to give me the okay to marry another woman. Because there were no reasons. It was just pleasure and he was infatuated. And so just because you feel like that, you will leave a marriage? A valid marriage? No. So Thomas More told him that But he didn't agree either. And so the king was very angry. In that process, the king, in order to say, something that you pointed out earlier, I will not be with one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church.
Mm-hmm.
I will begin the Church of England.
That's right. He made his own church.
And he changed all the churches that he could, except very few who resisted, but all the rest became the Anglican Church.
Mm.
That in the United States is called Episcopalian. But it's
And it's still alive today, yeah.
yeah. So it was the Church of England, founded by Henry VIII. You see? And so Thomas More was, of course, he was not agreeing with all that. And so he said, he accused him of treason. And he was going to be decapitated.
Yeah.
And before he died, he told his daughters and his wife and the king, I said, I have been serving well the king, but God first.
Yeah.
And then
They cut off his head.
they cut off his head.
Yeah.
So he's a great saint, a lawyer, and what you're pursuing, how to keep integrity.
Yeah. It's really important.
Very important. Very important. So I will be praying for you, and I will connect you with Thomas More, because you have very good, genuine desires and longings to sustain yourself with integrity in a very dark, complicated world.
You're right about that. Yeah. There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm. So follow it. Follow it not for other purpose, but for seeing and contrasting yourself and say, do I want to continue in this direction? People are saying that they are beyond the law and do whatever they want. And or I will, what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
To continue nourishing those desires that God has given to me, to please God. So he said, Thomas More, I served the king well. And it's true. But God first.
Yeah.
A lot of wisdom there.
Yeah, I mean, do your job the right way, but God always comes first. So I'm going to pivot a little bit. What would you say, so I'm 21, right? What would you say like a man like me needs to do to get ready for like the sanctity of marriage, right? Like, what does that look like? What would you advise? And I mean, because I mean, it's a difficult world out there today. So, and not a lot of people are choosing that way of life. So,
well, a couple of thoughts. One is the call of every baptized to holiness.
mm-hmm.
Is to start with that. I mean, a person, as you said earlier too, it is to go to heaven. But how you will live your life on the way to heaven.
For sure.
So holiness, the desire to live a holy life. And because the only one who is holy is God, is to share in the holiness of God. And then to say, well, and how The career will be one way, your career, that will help you. In the way you live your career, if you live in the path of holiness or not. But another thing is the state in which you're going to live. And so if you discover that the Lord is calling you to marriage, is to know what is a marriage as a follower of Christ in the Catholic Church. That is not a contract like Henry VIII wanted just to. And lawyers, if the paper is not valid anymore, that's it. Well, but your commitment. So to understand, in that case, Henry VIII, he knew what was a Catholic marriage. But then because he was not going to continue in his way, he split from the church that Jesus started, the Catholic Church.
Because it was convenient for him, right?
Yeah, he was for other reasons. And his reasons, beyond the law. I am beyond the law. So he ended doing that. So holiness, the path of holiness. What is the sacrament of marriage? It's not a contract. It's a covenant. So it's more holistic. It's not just, yes, I do, and then I don't. No, it's something more profound and more wholesome. And so to deepen the sacrament of matrimony. And then, how, and this is for me so practical and so important, how to develop friendships. You don't start with, I want that girl or that woman. No. One thing is you like the person. I feel attraction, or that's great. But you need to start with friendships. Many people, they get into marriages without going through friendship. Many people, they want to satisfy the sexual needs, not friendship. And then among friends is when you see how God is working and giving you signals that maybe among these 10 women, maybe this would be good to deepen the relationship with this particular one. But many people, they were in a trip, and they had a great time, and then they ended married. What happened?
Yeah, you don't even know the person. That's crazy.
And the other person doesn't know you.
Yeah, that's why.
But people, they don't realize that. They just realize, I didn't know her. No, don't be stupid. Yeah. She didn't know you at all, either. And this one you say, what? Yes, she didn't know you. You don't know. You were so immature, the two of you, and then making a decision about marriage. And as it happened, as easy will dissolved. So the people there have been in 3, 4, 5 marriages.
That's great.
But it's real, it's real. And so that's why many people, they don't consider anymore even to get married, even civilly. And if you're going to study law,
there's a lot to do there.
You have to defend, not only as a Catholic, But how civil law has importance. The bond of marriage, civil marriage, in itself is a commitment with society. You don't want to do it for God, whatever, so it's not faith-based. But even with society, it's a commitment.
Yeah.
And for the children, oh no, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Oh, it matters a lot. A lot. So, at least those three things. So, the path to holiness, the call to be holy,
Yep.
to deepen what is the sacrament of marriage. So you don't enter whenever it happens without knowing what is it. And then develop friendships with men and women. So that is open. And in that friendship, that group of friends emerges, the person. But it's friends. To know what friendship is before to try to get into marriage. And the same thing I will say about priest. Somebody was called to the priesthood, I will say the same thing. The call to holiness. Know what is the sacrament of priesthood. What is that vocation? No, at least here. And then we'll see it goes here. And then have priest friends. Before you said, I will be a priest.
Well, you have no friends as a priest. Yeah. It's hard to
Because then has to be always a connection eventually with the heart.
Yeah.
It's no ideas. It's affections and based on reality. Your career is a living element. Is one way, and you are going to live your vocation in married life, or you were called to the priesthood. And for example, in my office, I have 2 priests who are lawyers.
There you go.
Yeah, well, but that is a profession to navigate here.
Mm-hmm. No way
But it's something. But the state of life is something deeper.
Yeah.
It's more holistic.
That's it's being single or priest, or you can be
Married.
married. That's right.
Yeah.
And they each have the responsibility. Yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Well, I would ask you, how do you know if you found the right person? But, I guess call to holiness, all that, and you have to know what it is first. And then obviously, just like you said, like they would stand out, that friend, that person that would just, like God would tell, like, I don't necessarily know how God would tell you, but, I guess there's certain ways that you have to stop. That's what Mass this past Sunday was about. It was about like just sitting down, like we did like this like thing like right before, or it was like right after the gospel and like how he was teaching, and we sat there and he told us to like sit down and just close your eyes and like listen to God. Right? Like we sat there for a couple minutes. So
sure.
I guess I think me personally, I have to practice that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get so caught up in like what's going on in the world. You kind of have to just sit down and just be like, what is God trying to tell you? And just like try to listen,
Mm-hmm.
Take out all the craziness from your head, all the news that's going on.
Yeah. All the pieces could be good or not good, but there are so many that you need time to kind of to allow yourself to be clear, to be in touch with your feelings, your thoughts, and then to open yourself to the way God is speaking to you. Yeah. Well, Yeah. Now that you're going to the university, new things will happen.
Mm-hmm.
New things you will experience. New people you're going to know. And some people, they said, oh, we had love at the first sight.
Yeah.
Well, it could happen. But not because of that you will say, we're going to get married.
Yeah, no, that's great.
You need to cultivate the relationship, the friendship, peace. But you will be meeting a lot of stuff, and people and things, and new subjects and contents. But you have already a history. Not everything is starting right now, or when you step on Bailey's University. It's your family, your upbringing. You were telling me your mother was Mexican, your father was Irish, or he's Irish, and your mother is Mexican. You have family, you have already history, you have many elements that they have not bear all the fruit yet.
Yeah.
They have bear some fruit, but not everything. You have the education that you have received here in the University of Incarnate Word. That is not bearing all the fruit yet. So, because sometimes the challenges could be so impactful. They said, so where I go? I don't know. Calm. You have, God didn't start with you today.
Yeah.
Already is a great history. You know? And recoup your history. And it's when those moments of silence are helpful, because then something comes when you were 4 years old. A person in your family that was very meaningful. A friend, a neighbor, somebody in the church, in the parish that you were going, your first communion, or your confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
You were telling me earlier that also you have the name Patrick.
Yeah.
You see?
Right, yeah.
So there is a lot to bring about. But we are so busy with daily things, we don't have the time. And those pieces are forgotten, or they are put behind.
Interesting.
And they are part of you.
Yeah. 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 You make me think like, oh, don't get caught up in all the daily, the daily things that you do. Because it's interesting because I work off like this list. I'm all about these lists, right? I always have a to-do list. And you look at my schedule, it's all super oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And I guess sometimes you just get it's like my whole life becomes this list, but the reality is that's not true, right?
It's not the whole truth.
Yeah, no. I mean,
About
it
you?
definitely
No.
helps you, right?
It helps, but it's not the whole
But it's
truth.
not the whole truth. You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it helps you think about there's more to that.
That's right.
I feel like I have to think about that more too.
And that is what we call spiritually prayer life, contemplation. And he says that I have to do these 10 things. But, let me just figure out what else. What God wants to give me. What is what I really need?
Yeah.
And then even you will say, I had 10 things, but 1 or 2 maybe I don't have to. Oh, okay. I thought. It's like when you go shopping and you're not buying more than what you really needed. But it's because you start seeing things, oh, yeah, this too. Why you came here? For a toothpaste. Okay. You get your toothpaste and forget about all the rest of the place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, we can conclude with something that we started in before the program, when you said that you were we're celebrating yesterday St. Patrick's Day
Sure.
because you're Irish background too. St. Patrick was from England too. He wasn't Irish. But he was taken by by groups of people who were in boats in that part of the ocean, and he was taken to Ireland. And in Ireland, he was totally out of Catholicism.
Really?
And he saw so many horrible things, and he was treated almost as a slave. And so finally he escaped, went back to England, and then in his process of conversion, when he discovered that faith was the difference, he said, what they need in Ireland is faith. So he returned to Ireland. And he was dedicated to pass on the Catholic faith.
Wow.
To a point that Ireland became one of the most Catholic countries in the world.
Wow.
And the people call him the father of Ireland. Catholics and non-Catholics.
That's beautiful. Wow.
That St. Patrick was the father of Ireland. So you can see the big process talking about something deeper besides how he sustained his life and how he was able to live part of this world, but he has something deeper. That a whole country, a country who has sent missionaries, men and women, to all the English-speaking countries in the world. Because this man brought Catholicism to Ireland.
Wow. See, I didn't really know his story. Wow.
The father
Can you break it
of
down?
Ireland.
Wow.
So that could be something that can also be in your mind as Thomas More, St. Thomas More, St. Patrick. And to pondering, the challenges and the offerings that will be out there about life, what you do, friendships, to have always that deeper. And you have it, you were baptized because you grew up in a family who knew Christ, and in the Catholic Church.
Interesting. Thank you, Father. This is a great conversation.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. So we'll be praying for you, Nick, and pray for bishops too.
I will pray for y'all too. Always got to pray
Thank
for
you.
the church.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Thank you. So, well, I think it's time, right?
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
Thank you both. That was a great conversation. I will be leaving with things to think about as well. So, thank you, Archbishop.
You're welcome. It's a joy.
Wow.
Very good, Nick.
That was so.